So I've touched upon 2 musicals already and their movie adaptations. We've looked at successful ones that didn't do very well, and now we're going to look at a musical and its movie adaptation that's a bit mixed. I guess I should start at the beginning. The novel Les Miserables was written by Victor Hugo, who was also known for writing The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and was published in 1862, examining the history of France such as laws, politics, religion, romance, and family, and has been considered as one of the greatest novels of the 19th century. While book sales were successful, the critics, on the other hand, were mostly negative. But even so, there have been many adaptations for film, television, radio, and, of course, the musical. Originally written in 1980 as a French-language album and then presented, it only lasted for 3 months. But luckily, Cameron Mackintosh, impressed by the album, produced it as an English-speaking musical in London in 1985, and yet the critics were still not impressed. But it didn't matter, as the box office results were high and had become one of the longest-running musicals in the West End, and won 8 Tony Awards, including Best Musical and Best Original Score. So, is it bad that I think it's kind of overrated? Okay, I'm not saying it's bad. It's just, well, there are some problems with it, in my eyes, and you're probably asking, what the hell could that be? Well, the best way I can describe it is, well, let's just describe the plot. It starts off with a man named Jean Valjean finally being released from prison and yet is finding life difficult because of his parole. He even tries to steal silver from a bishop, but the bishop lies to let him go free. After this, Valjean decides to completely change his life. Oh, okay, so this musical is going to be about this transformation and how he can make his life much better. Oh, screw that. He's mayor in the next scene as years go by, and now we're focusing on one of his workers, Fantine, who has just been fired, as she's secretly been hiding a daughter, and now she must find ways to support her, resulting in her selling her hair, teeth, and, well, herself. Well, okay, that's pretty heartbreaking, and now she's dying. Wait, what? No, seriously, why is she dying? Oh, now Valjean is back and wants to help and agrees to take care of Fantine's daughter Cosette, even though a man named Javert is hunting him down and has been for years. But okay, so now it's going to be the relationship between the daughter and a surrogate father. Okay, makes sense. It makes sense as this little girl is the symbol of the musical. Oh, no, wait, years go by and now she's a teenager. Guess the relationship didn't really matter that much, as now we've got another relationship forming between her and a young man named Marius. Okay, a bit of romance, even though it's fucking quick, but I'll go with it. Oh, no, wait, am I supposed to be supporting their romance? 'Cause now there's another girl who wants Marius, named Eponine. Oh, no, wait, it's going to be about the French Revolution. Well, one of them. Which one? What are they fighting for again? They don't really explain it that well, but alright, okay, oh, now we're back with Valjean and Javert and their situation. Oh no, now we're back to the revolution, that doesn't really last long, and now we're back with Marius and Cosette, and now we're back to Valjean. What's the story? Or, at least, what is the main focus? I guess it's mainly about Valjean, but yet, why is so much being brought onto so many other characters? Honestly, the first time I saw the show, I was so lost on what the focus was, and therefore the emotions. A lot of people claim that this is the musical of emotion, but yet so much goes on so fast, and so many characters are involved, and I find it hard to connect with them. Other people have issues with Phantom of the Opera, but at least the story is easier to follow, and it has less characters to focus on. I know the story has problems such as logical stuff, but it certainly flows better and doesn't have so many characters, and so it gives you time to make a personal connection with the Phantom and Christine as they are the focus. In Les Mis, I wasn't really sure who the main character was at first. I mean, I started to get into Valjean's story, but then it suddenly shifts into Fantine, and so it just pulled me out of the moment. Okay, bitch and moan, bitch and moan. What do I like about this musical? Because, well, there are a few things I do like about it. The The strength of the musical is, well, it's music. And for me, that's where the emotion comes from, not the stories and the characters. Okay, for example, when Eponine sings On My Own, I get the emotion from the music and lyrics, not the situation. The songs are pretty universal, and I guess that's why the 10th anniversary at the Royal Albert Hall works so well. All it was a concert, and yet I personally thought it was better than the stage show and the movie, because, well, the star is the music itself. But as far as the stage show is concerned, there are other factors that I really liked, such as the lighting. Like, I absolutely adored the lighting. And this show clearly is a great example of how important lighting is for the theatre. There were some scenes that just added the atmosphere, such as the opening, Look Down. A row of prisoners working, but the lighting creates shadows and the smoke just made you feel the heat and the sweat and therefore the relief when Valjean is freed. Another, which is probably my favourite set, was Fantine's death. All was there was a bed and a window, with moonlight shining upon her face against a black background. It gives the sense of loneliness, the coldness, but also a sense of hope, of relief for Fantine to get her out of her horrible life. Which reminds me of the lyric, I had a dream my life would be so different from this hell I'm living. But speaking of the set, I did love the size and the power the barricades displayed and how they used the set to make it look like Paris, showing the size but also the poverty. So in conclusion, I do find a lot of things to like about this show. So, from a movie adaptation that was so mixed by the audience, what did I personally think? Well, when they announced a movie adaptation was going to be made, I wasn't sure how it was going to work since the show has already got a few problems and it's a 3-hour show, so cuts do have to be made. But seeing that the actors were going to be singing live? Interesting. I was also intrigued as well as how they were going to do the revolutionary scenes. I mean, that should look epic, right? It's okay. It's not good, but okay, let's have a look at it. I thought at first singing live would be such a great idea, and I was surprised other film adaptations hadn't done this before. But when I saw the film, I realized why they don't. While most of the acting was really good, especially from Anne Hathaway and Samantha Barks, the singing, wasn't that good. Now you might be thinking, well, theatre is live. The actors sing live every night in front of an audience, so why can't they do the same for movies? Well, I guess that's part of the problem. Theatre as a whole is live. It's an overall different experience compared to a movie. As it is live, mistakes will be made, but the advantage is that the actors have more than one performance, and as the audience knows it's live, they know mistakes could happen. For a movie, however, the director has only got one shot to tell this story the way they want to, and so when it's released, you can't go back. So you have to make it as good as you can, especially as you can use different takes and angles for different shots. And so if there are mistakes, a movie audience is less forgiving than maybe a theatre audience. Plus, it doesn't help that all the casting choices weren't that great. Okay, so the live singing may have had mixed reactions. Well, how about the way that the story was told? Again, it is such a mix. Some things were great and some were not so great. The long takes were probably the best, particularly with I Dreamed a Dream and On My Own. Maybe I think that's because it just lets you listen to the music and take in the emotion of it. However, some of the long takes didn't work, especially with empty chairs and empty tables. Yeah, wouldn't it have been better if you could, show the empty chairs and the sense of emptiness instead of just focusing on Eddie's face the whole time? In fact, the close-ups and tight shots really did not help scenes such as the fights and the barricades. In fact, there's not a lot of shots of Paris. Only a crane shot opening, pretty much, but the second half, I can't remember any other shots looking like that. The editing didn't really help, especially as I wanted to see the poverty and the horrible conditions. But the editing goes by so fast I can never take it in, and therefore I couldn't get behind the revolution and the fact that again, they don't explain it very well. Another editing problem occurred in Master of the House. Maybe the point of the song and the way it was edited was to show how quick and slick they pickpocket, but I would have wanted to see how they did it all, but because the editing was going so fast, I didn't really get what was going on and therefore didn't laugh as much as I should. Now, you're probably wondering why I'm complaining, but yet I don't seem to dislike this movie as much as, say, the Phantom of the Opera movie adaptation. Well, I think for the Les Mis movie adaptation, I think the best way to describe it, or at least the best word, would be experimental. I can see that there was more of an attempt to try and create a different kind of movie musical, with elements such as the cinematography and the live singing. Did it all work out? For some, sure, but for some, no. For me personally, I don't think it worked as a final project, but I'm glad I saw it, much like I'm glad I saw the stage show. There are elements I really enjoyed and some I really didn't. But I give credit to this movie for trying, like you can see the effort and vision they were going for. So for those who love Les Miserables, that's great, and for those who hate it, fine. But I would still recommend to see it, both the show and the movie adaptation. And who knows what you'll come out thinking. But at least it'll be an experience. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next review.